Welcome to Drawing with Lord Karnage. There is Lord Karnage in the background, terrifying poor Jesus. We're going to watch some digital drawing today on my Wacom, where I'm working on some classic game room doodles and some t-shirt designs, and you can compare the digital drawing here to one of the next Drawing with Lord Karnage videos where I'll be drawing pen and ink drawings on paper or Bristol board for my Etsy site, where you can purchase some original art. But the digital art I tend to do much looser and faster because it's much easier to go back and change things. Here's a look at a Lord Karnage 2 drawing with Lord Karnage and Edit Station 1 inks over some rough sketches. And here's another doodle where I'm going to draw Jesus from scratch on his own layer over a game cartridge design that I did on a separate layer. And one lucky classic game room backer will be getting this one. And what I do with Jesus is he's actually pretty basic to draw. It's all expression. There's not that many components to Jesus, but the lines, he shows all of his expressions through his beak or his eyes, or a combination of the two. And this is one of its more clueless looks. So when he looks at something and he's just sort of confused, his beak is shut, and then I'll angle his mouth depending on whether he's happy, confused, or just downright dumb. And again, since this is a digital drawing, I tend to go really fast and then go back later and just clean it up. With pen and ink, I go much slower, much slower. I do pencil and then lay down inks. But since you really can't undo a pen and ink drawing, I spend a lot more time on the pencils. Sometimes if he's lucid, Jesus will actually focus on something. Other times his eyeballs are just all over the place, depending on how much space coke he's done, right? Now, for a lot of the doodles, lately I've been doing them in color. Not all of them, but some of the Jesus and Edit Station 1 doodles in color. I'm not much of a colorist, but I am getting better. And these are cartoon colors, so I will just fill yellow and orange. But what I'm doing here actually is making sure there's no breaks in the drawing, and then I'm throwing in the yellow. And frequently I'll also smash the drawing layer together, the ink layer together with a white background. Knock out the whites that aren't part of the actual drawing, and then there you go. That allows me to do the lens flares in the background. Which are a nice way to fill the background space. Now here's Jesus with his beak open, and this drawing will eventually be on a t-shirt. A Jesus t-shirt, which I'm uploading to the Classic Game Room web store. See, life is an artist. You try to sell your stuff wherever you can. But this is, cafepress.com/classic game room. You'll be able to see this one. I ended up creating two t-shirt designs, but I thought it was going to be one, but I'll get to that in a moment. Now his beak here, that one line, the top line of his beak, the top line of like of his opening mouth, that line is very important when drawing his face, because it shows whether or not he's happy, terrified, or again just downright confused. So sometimes if you look at the very bottom of that, it angles upwards just a little bit, and that subtle line, that subtle shift in the line there actually does all of it. Because if he wasn't happy, that'd be pointing down. Listening to a bit of Depeche Mode for this one, which obviously I can't play you, but there's the record spinning. Now originally this was going to be a Drugs Don't Use Winners shirt, and play off the old winners don't use drugs. In fact, I think I am going to change the ultimate design to... Well, hang on. Let me get to that in a second. So, yeah. Initially, I was going to combine Jesus with that slogan, which I think is pretty funny. And I wanted to put some sort of a background in. I started with a circle, but really couldn't match the design of Jesus to a circle. I put a star back there. Can't really match the Jesus design to a star, so I knocked out Jesus. And I'm going to change this for the final version. It'll be Drugs Don't Use Winners, but I made that its own shirt with the star, which I thought was just kind of funny. Then later on, if I decide to add other elements or characters, I can do that, since it's all being handled digitally through a web store. I can make changes to that. And then I decided to put Jesus in a circle all by himself with a more simple title. Instead of Winners Don't Use Drugs, it just said Jesus. Which actually I think turned out pretty well. Frequently when doing shirts, the more basic the better. And what I was doing there also was putting a white line around him to make him pop out of the black. So that's drawing with Lord Karnage for today. Get your CGR shirts and glassware at ClassicGameRoom.com. Classic Game Room is brought to you by Magnum Skywolf. CGR is supported by fans on Patreon. Thank you.